It's you and me on a Monday. I feel like we got a bonus show, Anthony.
I feel like an all-star. It's like I woke up this morning and I feel like an all-star. Let's do a show.
All right, let's get me to feel like an all-star.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us here on No Vacancy Live. That is Anthony Melchiori. I'm Glenn Hausman. I want to start off by saying thank you to the International Hospitality Institute for naming us the #1 industry podcast for the 3rd year in a row. All 3 years, Anthony, they've done this. That feels pretty good, I'll tell you.
You know what? I give a lot of credit to our producers, David and Suzanne. Obviously, a lot of credit to you. But I give the most credit to the guests that we have.
Yeah.
The guests that we have, the reason we are #1 is because we get guests no one else can get. And in just insane guests that are very forthcoming. And, I was just telling somebody something about what was the gentleman's name, Gerber, the gentleman who helped us through the recession, Randy Gerber's brother. I can't remember his name.
Scott
Gerber. I remember when he was so honest about training and getting talent during the pandemic that basically we're just bringing people, the best we can, do a background check and bring them on. Like, that was such an honest moment. And this show was about honest moments, about really getting through the crap. And for some reason, this show, nobody kind of flexes. Everybody's really transparent for the most part. Do you think that's true?
It is, because we've got this great disarming nature, Anthony, that gets everyone comfortable. And they're actually truthful with us because we don't stand for just people giving us the lines that they have to give. Because if we're going to educate and empower our audience, we need to hear the truth from which, in order to solve the problems our industry is facing. Speaking of industry problems our industry is facing, Anthony, last week I was at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference, and I want to thank everybody for coming out there doing to my session where I did a panel on brand owners and hotel owners. That was really cool. But one of the problems that kept coming up over and over and over again, Anthony, was that freaking labor issue and trying to get people excited about being in our business again.
Well, we may have a little bit of a solution, remedy. We'll see. We'll see this Thursday when we drop our new show, Hotel All Stars.
That's this Thursday.
And you were kind enough to do, it was this Thursday. And Wednesday night, I know you can't make it. We're doing a little get-together at the Margaritaville in Times Square that we'll talk about at the end of the show. People are invited, stop by. I'll sign a book. I think I'll have 20 books with me. So the first person to show up gets a signed book.
Awesome.
Margaritaville, but in Times Square. But it's just been amazing. It's been exceptional that how people are reacting to the show. And everybody wants Hotel Impossible back, right? Everybody says, but we want Hotel Impossible back. This is not about Hotel Impossible. This is what's impossible is getting new people into our industry. And, we want to get people to really believe, because it's true, that this is the greatest. There's no industry better than this.
Right.
Because you can get, like right now, productions are struggling. Producers are struggling. Development companies are struggling. Networks are struggling. And it's hard to find a job.
Yeah.
In the hotel business, you can find a job. Anywhere. You can find a job anywhere in the world. And I will guarantee you that a lot of people in show business and a lot of people in production either started in the hotel business or in the restaurant business or are working in the hotel and restaurant business to supplement their income or have decided to change. Matter of fact, what's his name? Sebastian, the comedian, was a bellman at the Four Seasons.
Sebastian Maniscalco, who keeps adding show after show after show here in the New York area.
And he said he learned everything he needed to know about being successful in the hotel industry.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Listen, and the hotel industry is such a great place to be. And we're so excited for Anthony's new show, Hotel All Stars, dropping this Thursday on YouTube. So we're going to dedicate the whole show to this particular topic. So, Anthony, we're no longer No Vacancy Live. No, today we're Hotel All Stars is what we're going for.
And before we get going, because we have we have our executive producer and my partner on the show.
Mhm.
And then we have our producer that's been invaluable to not only Hotel Impossible, to everything we've done, and I know to Bruce and the company, Dana. But before I say that, I want to make sure everybody understands that this show has been funded by AHLA, fully funded by AHLA. So this is the AHLA show that we're partners on, and that me, Bruce, and AHLA are partners on. But make no mistake about it, without AHLA, this show is not possible. So this is funded by and helped us create this show. And of course, our friends at Breakers Hotel and our friends at Margaritaville, we could not do the show without them. So I just wanted to say I am a very small, cog in the wheel. I just had an idea one day, and boom, everybody came up to bat, and they were all stars.
Right. Of course, we're talking about the American Hotel and Lodging Association. And Anthony, we should get interim CEO Kevin Carey on sometime to talk about this. I think that would be a whole lot of fun as well. But listen, before we get into it with these interviews, I think we need to understand what the premise of Hotel All Stars are, because coming from the outside, I understand that it's something to get people excited about working in the hotel business, but what exactly is the show and what is the format?
Well, before we do that, I'd like to put Dana on the spot before I even put Bruce on the spot.
All right, Dana on the spot.
Okay, don't even bring Bruce in right now. So
don't bring Bruce in, or I'm sorry.
Don't bring him in. Don't bring him in. Keep him in purgatory.
Dana,
Dana,
your face back behind scenes. Yeah.
The person who I love and admire the most. What is the show?
The show Hotel All Stars is a challenge show about wanting to do your best in the world of hospitality. And it's really a really fun game at the center, because you have people who really want to be in the hotel industry, hospitality industry. You have some fun games that they are doing in the middle of it. And then it's also therapy. I mean, Anthony, you are giving them mind bullets. You're seeing all of the emotions be played out. It's a hard thing to do, like a job interview, a game, trying to get a job, like all of those things wrapped in one. It's a lot.
Okay, so you got him intimidating you.
So is Bruce in the green room smiling, or is he?
He's got a pained look on his face.
All right, let's bring him in.
More, but that's
Bruce David Klein, executive producer, Hotel All Stars.
I have spent 12 years receiving Anthony's mind bullets, so I can speak to that for sure.
Well, first of all, I walked into Bruce's office years ago, and we had 3 production companies that were looking at us. One Mark Summers production company, another production company, and then Bruce's production company, which moved fast, and they helped us develop the show, obviously, and get it. So we've been in bed together ever since, and Dana's been there every step of the way, and so is Alex and the team. And again, there's so many people behind the scenes that have made this successful. But the purity of this show is the understanding that I will not bend. If it's not in the standard of the hotel industry, and it doesn't favor the industry, and it doesn't make the industry better, and if a general manager or an owner can't say, you know what he's saying is true, then the show doesn't exist. And I am not easy, as you all know, to deal with when I have a thought in my brain that I believe in. And they've been really, really exceptional in making sure that they did all the stuff behind the scenes to make sure that I was able to kind of be who I want to be in front of the camera. And that's no easy task. And even Travel Channel and everyone's always made sure that I shined in front of the scenes. And I didn't even realize that I can't speak the English language until I had a podcast. Because when we were doing Hotel Impossible, I was like, man, I sound smart. And I didn't realize how much of the does and the dis and the das come out in the edit process. When you do live, all the stuttering comes out.
That's funny. But fortunately, Anthony, you had plenty of time to record this. But I actually don't know how many days it takes to put together one of these episodes. We're going to get into a lot of those behind the scene questions just in a minute. But before that, what I love is not only you getting people excited about the business of hotels and all the jobs that they can do, but you're also bringing a lot of attention to the fact that there are so many more opportunities in the hotel industry than just being a front desk person or working in housekeeping.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into that, I'd like to kind of talk about the background real quick in a minute or less of Atlas Media and Dana, because I mean, they're in the business as much as anybody can be in the business. So why don't you talk a little bit about the production company, my friend Bruce?
Yeah. First, I should say, just in a nutshell, just so everybody understands the format of the show, because I think it's so exciting, really. Each episode, Anthony goes to a different famous celebrated hotel. So the first 2 episodes happen to be the Amazing Breakers and the really super fun Margarita Hollywood. When Anthony gets there, he absorbs the DNA and learns as much as he can about the hotel, because he then brings in, and we can talk about how we find these people, he then brings in 3 prospective hotel employees, people who are candidates to work in the hotel, and he puts them through his patented Anthony Tough Love, where we put them through all these tests. And then at the end of each episode, the one of those 3 who does the best in Anthony's judgment and also the hotel's judgment gets an immediate job offer from that hotel on the spot. You get a job, you did great. So it's such an incredible concept. I think in terms of, hearing Anthony talk and kind of setting it up, what's interesting about this show is the result of an inflection point in both industries, the television industry and the hospitality industry. So the TV industry is in many ways melting down on many fronts with all the disruption. You read about the layoffs and the issues with streaming not making enough money except for Netflix, and cable, the traditional way that we watch TV kind of collapsing. And simultaneously, this issue in the hotel industry of not being able to find great employees. This show capitalizes on both of those kind of challenging issues and brings forth this kind of really fun, entertaining show. So that's kind of it. And the origin of it is both the hospitality industry, we need workers, but also the television industry, which is, we can't do the old school kind of, throw a show on cable and hope that people watch it, because fewer and fewer people are watching that. They're watching it in innovative ways. So one of the big innovations of this show is to launch it on social media and on YouTube, to make use of the fact that that's how most people.
And 2 years ago, if you said we're going to do it on YouTube, everybody would be like, oh, YouTube, what happened to your career? What happened to your show? You suck. Now it's like, I'd say in 2 years from now, it will be like, that's the only place people are going, or one of the only places. And we've always been a pioneer for either just because of the circumstances we find ourselves in, or because we've been visionary about what we want. I think this kind of, to Bruce's point, I think we're both. I think we were a little bit visionary in what we wanted to do, but I think we have really no choice, but this is the best place to put it at this point, because everything is, as Bruce says, is melting down. What were you going to say?
Anthony, I will see you and raise you, because actually YouTube has higher viewership stats than Netflix. YouTube accounts for 8.6% of all U.S. usage of the internet, and Netflix is only at 7.9%. So all the other streaming services combined don't even equal what YouTube is doing. So this is the place to be.
I'll go even further. You have like a Mr. Beast that has 100 million people watching his show. Let's just put that in perspective. 100 million people. That's 6 times or 5 times the amount of people that watch the Oscars.
Mr. Beats is bigger than Taylor Swift.
Mr.
Beats is bigger than Taylor Swift, and nobody knows it. Like, if you're under the age of 40, he is. I was just watching something on him. He just wins. He's everything. He's the biggest thing in the world. He lives in his warehouse. He has a bed in his office near his warehouse. He's 25 years old, and Mr. Beast is a beast. That's a really good name for him. But let's back it up a little bit, and then we can do some promos for the show. But I want to get behind the scenes a little bit. One, I said to them before, please make fun of me. But before we do that, Dana, when you came into the show, you were the person that really did a lot of work in finding the candidates and the contestants. And one of my mantras was, I don't want anyone that knows what the Breakers is about. I don't want somebody that, summered at the Breakers. I don't want somebody whose family brought them to Margaritaville or, every single year. And, I don't want that person. I want the person to walk into a suite and go, I've never seen this before. And I think to some degree that worked. And I think going forward, I think maybe we need to have a little bit of experience as well. But this was like deer in the headlights was my kind of mantra. And so what was your experience like finding these people and then once they got on the show? What was your experience like?
Yeah. It felt like a big undertaking, right? Because this show will be, America-wide probably. But we were focused on the state of Florida because those were the first 2 episodes. So we were finding locals, people who could get there on time, someone who could receive the job if given to them, and people who would pop on camera. This is a visual medium. So I wanted someone who could connect with the audience, who the audience would fall in love with. We're going to go through a whole bunch of emotions. We want to see their vulnerability. I did a bunch of Zoom interviews, hundreds, which you can see in the episodes. We do a little montage. But I wanted them to pop on camera. I wanted them to be able to speak about what they're feeling inside, because I know Anthony. I know Anthony is going to be like, who are you? Why are you here? What are your hopes and dreams? What makes you a hotel all-star? That's question number 1. And so these people had a little bit of experience, like either they were a bartender, a waiter, maybe they take care of their grandparents. Like it's not even a career, but they have it within them. These people do not work in a hotel. So we're trying to make it specific to a new experience.
One of the things, everybody that works with me understands that I'm easy to deal with until I'm not. And tell Dana, hey, Dana, I trust you. I don't want to see them. As long as you're in charge of it, I'm good. If it was other people, unless it was Alex, I wouldn't let Bruce do it. But Alex or Dana, I always have Bruce having the last word's always good. He's the best. I've never had anybody to this day. I'd say he's the best editor in the business. And the reason Hotel Impossible works is because of that. I don't know if I would want him to do the interviewing process, but that's the trust I had, that I wanted to do the show desperately. And I knew, as long as I knew Dana was dealing with it. And when I got on set, magic happens because people are people. And when you have we had our crew, our sound guy I'm used to, Enrique, John Keller, and who, to me, I pray at the altar of John Keller. And we had Alex on set. So I had all these people I was comfortable with, plus 2 new people that I was really, they were like family immediately. The cameraman and his son, who was the assistant, I can't remember their name. They were fantastic. And that's what it's about. That's what the industry is about. That's what the hotel business is about. It's about doing really, really challenging things. We have HLA's money. We have these people's hotels that are trusting us. We have these people's reputation on the line. And I'm not worried about my reputation. I'm not worried about the crew because I know we got it. But we have a lot of responsibility on our hand. And the reason you don't see shows like this and the reason you don't see people doing things like we're doing it, because they can't. Because they don't have the production company. They don't have the talent. They don't have the background. They don't have AHLA funding it. And I'm only saying that not to pat us on the back, but like this shit's hard. And you have to work with people that are above reproach. Because if you don't, you can't do it. I could not function. Plus, I'll tell you a little secret. When you see me on camera, I'm almost 30 pounds lighter than I am right now because I was sick as a dog coming out of the hospital. And they took care of me. Matter of fact, Bruce wanted to rush me to the hospital every 30 seconds. But you would never notice it because I felt comfortable. And that, to me, I want to kind of just underline that in the industry, that you come into our industry and you find your place, you wouldn't want to work anywhere else. I'm not saying that every place you'll feel comfortable. I'm not saying every place is going to work for you. You may have to go to a couple different companies before you find your place. But there is a place for everyone in this industry. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
That's all right.
Everything you see in the episode is real. Like Anthony did not see these people before we started rolling. And I wanted to pre-produce them a little bit. I didn't tell them anything. So I knew they had to be game.
Right. Up
You
for
better
anything.
be ready. But what you have to know about Anthony is he wants you to succeed. Okay, go. You know?
Right. So that's interesting because Bruce and Dana can talk about this. This is, when people say, I would imagine to Glenn, like, hey,
Yep.
Glenn, what does Anthony like? Or Bruce, what does Anthony like? Or Dana, what does Anthony like? What did you tell them when people say, what does Anthony like? What do you tell them?
Exactly that. I'm like, I love Anthony. I've been working with him for about a decade. He wants you to succeed. Be open. I already knew that they were able to access feedback in real time. What we're asking them to do is really hard.
Yeah.
And so I knew that they weren't going to, leave the set at any moment. I knew that they wanted feedback. They wanted to forward their careers, and Anthony is the one to do it.
Dana, let me ask you this then. So what are the types of skills that really resonated with you that you think a good potential hospitality employee must espouse to be considered for Hotel All-Stars?
If you don't know the answer, that's okay. Say that you'll figure it out. Or
Yep.
I know someone who does. You don't have to walk into every job knowing absolutely everything. It's about your attitude. It's about the fact that you're able to put someone else's needs first, and excellence.
And that's Dana. Boom.
I think also,
Bruce, that's Dana.
one of the great things that came about for this show that I think really speaks to the hospitality industry in general is the surprising, because one of the subtexts of kind of the whole thing, amidst all the entertainment and all the drama, was that, you may be working at X right now and you may be mildly happy. You may not realize that you could be working here in hospitality with the same skills. So the example was one of the highlighted people who we met was in the IT of the restaurant at Margaritaville.
Mm-hmm.
So this person is the expert at all of the billing computers and all that kind of stuff. And when they break down, they call her in a panic. It froze. What do we do? And then to me, if I'm working in IT for not to besmirch the insurance company, but I'm going to use them as an example of something that
They're such good guys.
it's not thought of as the most vibrant industry.
Mhm.
So if someone's working, in the back office in an insurance company doing IT, it's like, dude, you could use that same skill and work at a Margaritaville. If you're into, lots of energy, whatever, you could work at Breakers if you have a certain, desire for refinement or whatever. So I think that's a subtext in the show.
Right. So Bruce, what you're saying, there's a lot of transferable skills out there. So one of the things that we talk about on this show is no matter what your passion is, we've got that in the hospitality industry. And you're saying the same thing, whatever skills you have, they're applicable to our
And
incredible.
with the show, you see it. You
Mhm.
actually see the person doing their job, and you say, "Oh, I could totally do that." And why not do it at
Right.
this great environment on the beach and blah blah blah? So
I remember a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
But before I say that, I just want to give Dana the Oscar for exactly what she just said. It's figure it out.
Emmy on this TV?
I mean,
Whatever.
it's YouTube. It's a YouTuber. So no, that she couldn't have given. I couldn't have given a better answer. It's the figure it out business. So if somebody says, "What's the hotel business?" It's the figure it out business. I have never been qualified for any job I've ever had. Ever. I've never been qualified for any job. I've always been a manager since the day I started in the industry. Where I was in the hotel business, I in the military. They promoted me real quick to supervisory. I've always figured it out. And if somebody says, "What's the hotel business?" from now on, I'm going to say it's the figure out business and give Dana full credit.
which is ironically very close to what we do in TV. So during the shooting at one of the hotels,
Mhm.
we were planning this challenge, if you will, to challenge the three candidates on giving them a project to work together.
Right.
And then literally, as we're figuring out what to do, we get a call from the hotel and they say a very high rolling VIP guest has a daughter who's having a birthday party that day, and he'd like to do a little, shindig for her. And we gave it to our 3 people, and we were kind of bobbing and weaving, trying to figure out what to do, and they were. And thank God, knock wood, it all came together great. But
Wait, hold on a second. So the hotel trusted these people that they don't know with the VIP guest experience. Pretty
with
amazing.
a little help from Anthony.
Well, of course.
I will tell you, when you see it, I was sweating.
Yeah, I saw it.
I was very like, this is real. I kept on saying, this is not a joke. This is real. And one of the great things about it was when the timer was like, we had X amount of time because they were in the lobby. Within an hour, they were going to be in the lobby. So the timing was real, right? Now, did we have a little cushion to say, hey, just hang out a minute? Of course. They weren't going to kill us. But that's not the point. The point is when it was over, and I won't give it away,
Right.
but when it was over, something happened that was so important and such a learning tool for people. And I will just say, good enough isn't good enough. And good isn't good enough. Not in the world I come from.
Right.
Exceeding expectations is an overused term. I don't want to even exceed expectations. I don't want you to even understand what it is that we provide, that we can provide you. I want you to be that surprised, and that's what it is. It's not the exceed expectations. It's not even understanding what the expectation is, and then when you see it, you're like, "Holy wow! I didn't even know that existed." And that's this industry, right? And it's just a fun show. And what was one thing, Bruce, on set that I don't know, that was a funny thing or something I did or somebody else did that maybe not make the cut? Or Dana, if you can remember, I was in a little bit of a kind of a fog.
Yeah, no, I think that there were a bunch of things because of the premise from the beginning, which is get deer in the headlights people. These were people that had only slight hospitality experience, mostly as servers, mostly as bartenders, who were looking to potentially make the move. And to see these people suddenly deal with, as an example, we gave them one very, very tough task having to do with hotel room and let's just say finding things that don't belong. And to see these deers in the headlights, literally their jaws were like dropped. They didn't know where to begin. They didn't know where. And of course, Anthony threw in a lot of twists and turns along the way. That was very, very, very gratifying because remember, we have to appeal to 3 different groups. A show like this has to appeal to Anthony fans who have come to expect, watching Hotel Impossible and 5 Star Secrets and all the other shows, it want to experience the force of Anthony's personality. So we have to appeal to them. We have to appeal to people who kind of are not happy in their jobs or are maybe curious about the hotel industry to see how it works behind the scenes. And then third, we need to appeal to people who are interested in just finding out about travel and new hotels or whatever. And that all of those people have to be people who are just interested in watching good, dramatic, entertaining TV. So you work on those 3 or 4 layers simultaneously. And a lot of the things that we talked about so far kind of have that stuff embedded in it. When you take a deer in the headlights and you put them in the spotlight, you're going to get great drama, comedy, surprise, and then emotion, because I think Anthony is the first to admit, I mean, not to reveal anything, but especially in one of the shows, Anthony was kind of hysterically crying at the end.
I've never seen
Big
that
baby,
before.
big baby.
You know,
Big old Foxy.
Listen, everybody that knows me has seen me cry.
you
but-
think he's tough Brooklyn, but trust me.
But I think, and I think you both, Dana and Bruce, have really summed it up really well. And that's, but behind the scenes of the people working in the hotel, when you call your friends at Breakers and like, we don't really do this, and then they trust you to do it. And the level that they work at is insane. And then you called Tamara over at Margaritaville, the chief marketing officer. How great is Tamara to work with, Dana?
Oh my gosh. I could jump on a couch for her, like Tom Cruise on Oprah. Everyone, the Breakers staff, the Margaritaville peeps, I mean, everyone was a delight. They were the epitome of hospitality.
Yeah, and you learn
That's
all
what
these
you want to be.
You learn these little details. Like, it was so incredible to get into the Breakers sauce, their magic sauce. And because it's one of the most extraordinary places, forget hotels, I've ever seen in terms of the employees. And then I'm talking to some employees, and like a bellboy is given a course in wine and to understand wine. He's never going to answer a question probably about wine, but it raised.
But tell me about the sommelier that was. Tell Dana about that gentleman that was the wine expert. Remember that gentleman?
I mean, maybe Bruce can talk to it. Yeah, he was the master. Isn't he like number 2 in the whole country?
Right. There's like I think there were 2 at his level of black belt of wine, right? Whatever that is, right? Yeah. And he was he from Mexico, I think?
Yes, Mexico.
And he's the only person ever in Mexico to have this designation. So he knows more about wine than almost any human being in the world. And it all came through the Breakers training. It all came through the Breakers leadership. It all came through them helping him become one of the greatest wine experts in our country. He can tell you not only where the dirt's from, he can tell you how many years that dirt's been there. Like, he is insane and excited.
For people who don't know, the Breakers is one of the most historic hotels in the country. It's super high level, luxury type of product, and it's absolutely gorgeous from top to bottom.
And it's about the details, and that's why I think you really understand. You know, Anthony interviews the pastry chef who came from France, and there's a whole backstory which I won't get into. But the damn croissants have 79 layers of flake. Okay,
literally.
Hear this guy talk, and I'm a foodie. The obsession he had with croissants, and here's my favorite: the fact that when he moved from France to Southern Florida, he had to adjust his recipe to allow for the different altitude, but also humidity. Yeah. And he had to completely change his recipe. And he was so into it, almost like a scientist figuring out how to do it. To be around these people, you get better. And as somebody not in the hospitality industry, although, you know, I brushed up against it through a lot of our shows, it's just so exciting to be around people who are at the top.
You know, one of the things that Bruce has, he has a very creative mind, but also he's very enthusiastic, and he has you never know where he's going to go, right? And to say he's a foodie, like, he just loves things, and he loves he just has this like childlike kind of mentality about the universe. And so I'm going to get Bruce's face to contort in a couple different ways by asking him this question. How is DeForest Pizza today?
Okay, so for those who don't know, Anthony's talking about what was generally considered the greatest pizza place of all time, which is DeFara's on Avenue J in Brooklyn, run by Dom, this guy who'd been making pizzas since 1962. He recently died, so the big question was, would his family take over?
He's not happy. Let's put it this way. Bruce is not happy. Let's not disparage him.
But let's just say they did not maintain the excellence the way the Breakers and Margaritaville.
But I'm going to go and I'm going to check it out myself. But anyway, this show is, I could never do another TV show again. Hopefully this show lasts a long time. But if this show just lasted 2 episodes, this is such a gift.
That's DeForest.
Talk about a gift. Talk about a gift.
That's Dom.
He may look like me as an old man. Hold on. That could be me when I'm. You know, this is such a gift to be on set with my old crew, to be doing it for the industry, by the industry, it was almost like it was a gift. And we want to give this gift of hospitality to people who say, well, maybe I'll be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever. I am telling you, there is no greater industry right now than the hotel industry. And for some reason, if the economy in New York's not good, you can go to Portugal. If Portugal's not working out, you can go to Hawaii. If Hawaii's not working out, you can go to Japan. You will find a job on this earth making good money in the hospitality industry. You can be the smartest person. You can have the highest SAT. You can be the sharpest person, the best looking person. But if you don't have this skill that Dana talked about, the figure it out skill, then maybe you should be in this industry, because that's the skill that will get you to the CEO position or whatever position you want. You got to figure crap out. And most people have that ability once they feel safe, once they feel comfortable in their role. Most people can figure it out if they're given the opportunity. But I'm not letting you guys get off the hook before. I know we got to go, Glenn. Another minute.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I don't know if you were on set, Bruce, when we were in Sandusky, Ohio. Were you on set with us in Sandusky, Ohio? It was the last show of the season.
I was that indoor water park. Yeah.
Okay. Were you there?
I was not there.
Dana, were you there?
But I was on the phone like 3 hours a day.
Well, the greatest thing, I never know about that stuff. But the greatest thing about that moment was when they found somebody that worked for me, that worked for one of the hotels that were in the area. And when they saw me and him talking, realized that he used to work for me at Nickelodeon Resorts. It was like, what does he really like to work with? What does he really like to work with? And they couldn't get enough of like, what am I like to work with in the hotel business? Now, most people listening to the show, hopefully, have either worked with me or kind of know me a little bit. A lot of people. So what am I like to work with on the set, Dana?
Pick me.
Yes, you've been picked.
I'm going to talk about Anthony and Bruce. To be in a car driving from the airport to the Breakers, which was the first episode we shot.
Yes.
I think it was raining. It's at night. And Anthony is like, I don't want to see the property. I don't want to see the property. And we're like, what? We're just literally rolling up.
What do you mean not see the property?
I can't see it.
Breakers.
I happen to have, I wear like three things, and I had a caftan in my backpack. I tied it around his face. We shuffled him in. The old lady.
On film?
Through the glass doors, past the check-in. And we're like, this is Anthony Melchiori.
Don't breathe.
We're going to usher him to his room. He doesn't want to see the property. Everything is a surprise, and it's wild. I think the crew, me, producer Alex Goldstein, John Kelleran, Enrique, everyone on set, we're rather chill. Bruce and Anthony are wild. And if the mayor of Hollywood, Florida is walking down the street, we need to go get that content. Anthony's like,
we didn't know who that was.
We didn't.
Look at that guy. He looks like he's official, whatever.
He had a towel around his neck.
Mayor.
Yeah, and he was the mayor.
It's really run and gun. It's so thrilling. It's professional. It's fun, and it raises your. Gotta like do that.
Like I've always said from the day we've been on set, when they push the button, it goes everywhere. Especially when we were on TV initially. I was like, they push that button and millions of people see it.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready to be on our set, and my favorite saying is, and I mean it from my bottom of my heart, if you're not ready for the big leagues, we're the wrong place to be. Because I don't suffer fools when we're doing something where somebody else's money is involved, somebody else's, production company is involved. My name and my face is involved. Mm-hmm. My team's name and faces are involved. So I don't have a lot of time for mediocrity. And what's great about finally getting the team, the last show we ever did in Sandusky, Ohio, was the best team we've ever worked with. And I was more comfortable than I've ever been.
And the worst hotel we've ever visited.
Right. And it was the best show we've ever done. And I always said, if we get tapped on the shoulder and it was the last show we ever did, which it happened to be, but it was the best show we ever did, we win. And I will go on record as saying that was the best show we've ever done in the history of Hotel Impossible. with the greatest team, and it was the only way we do it. So whether it's the first show or the last show, it's got to be not perfect, because there's no such thing as perfection, but it has to be authentic. And if I cry, or I get a little pissed off,
Yep.
or I want to scarf around my head and look like a moron, if I have to ask a guy, and people saw clips of it, so I'm not giving anything away. And I'm saying to myself, this isn't Hotel Impossible. I don't have 4 days with this guy, but I gotta know, and I know I have to be. This is a different show, so I'm not looking to really out people, or really I don't want to get in people's faces. But maybe I did a little bit of Hotel Impossible. And I asked the gentleman in a very nice way. It's 7 a.m. in the morning, and I said, "Sir, do you have an iron at home?" And just that question, in a very nice way, we've got not only good content, but we've got authentic content and running gun content.
And a learning experience.
I didn't say, dude, what the hell are you doing with a wrinkled shirt?
Right.
I don't want that guy here. Get his shirt ironed. I was like, very gently said, do you have an iron at home? And then, all hell breaks loose, which was fun. And Bruce, what would you say I'm like on set, my friend? I know what you're like on set. Is it that painful?
Yeah.
It's going to war, because that's what production is, A. And B, it's going to war with the single most intense laser. He becomes a different person. He basically, the intensity, and that's why what we have to do is we actually prepare all of the the contestants and the behind the scenes people and say, look, Anthony's intent, because you need to know this from the beginning. Anthony's intensity comes from a place to make you and the world better. It's not, you're an asshole, he's attacking you, he's mean. And that insight is so crucial for people who deal with him for the first time.
Right.
Because they haven't seen how this leads to a good thing. Because a lot of times in the show, he'll do something that's like, whoa, he was hardcore to that guy. And then he explains it, and you're like, oh, that was kind of fair. But one thing I want to make sure that we get in before we go, because I'm sure you guys are
yeah, and then we got a special thing I got to do too. Yeah.
Okay, so there is and we've never done this before, so we have no idea how it's going to go. But we are having a pop-up meet and greet to celebrate kind of this sneak peek of this new Hotel All-Star series. It's going to be this Wednesday, the 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. At the Margarita Hotel in Times Square. And Anthony will be there. I think the first 20 people get a free signed book. But we've never done this before, been so integrated, because usually there's been a network between us who kind of controls the people. We're going direct. We're seeing what's out there. We're going direct on YouTube. And hopefully we're kind of reinventing the way a show like this can be distributed.
Yep.
Right. And full transparency. Everybody that knows me knows I'm not a big party guy. So I want to meet fans. I want to do it. But everybody knows it's like, they have to put a scarf around my neck and make me come.
Yeah, sure. He's very relieved that I'm going to be going to see Styx on Wednesday night and can't make it. But before we go,
wait a second, stop.
Yeah.
Styx, as in come sail away. I just
baby, I'm going to the Westbury Music Fair. Bruce.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And asterisk, I saw them twice open for a more famous band.
That's fun.
So.
Yeah, I've been meaning to see them for a while. But in the meantime, we would be remiss if we didn't bring on our own Dr. Producer Suzanne to ask something very important of all of you. So, boom.
So, great job. I'm so excited. This is finally making it onto YouTube so the youth of our industry can see it. And obviously, from the academic side, I would be remiss by not asking, how do you hope, or how do you envision seeing this show emulate itself into the path for hospitality curriculum from all across the globe? Because we have students that are learning about this industry and wanting to get involved. And so what do you think it's going to do to inspire them?
Well, I'll take it first, and then they'll give you a lot more articulate perspective. It's going to be like Hotel Impossible, right? We make the cake, we put in the ingredients, and we do it with heart and integrity and authenticity. And then the professors, such as my friend here, Dr. Suzanne, Dr. Producer Suzanne, sorry, didn't use your full title. Then people like you, right? You're like, hey, we can incorporate this content into our school. When you were working at Boston University, where we met is because you were teaching Hotel Impossible in your classroom. You know, so many people around the country literally show videos in the classroom. I've had people, they're friends of the family, okay, and say, you know, we're watching a video, and they send me a video in my hospitality class. So we're not, so at least me, I am not so focused on this is how people are going to learn the industry. I'm focused on this is the industry. This is how we do the industry. I'm going to be me. They're going to be them. And how does the people that do this for a living, that teach this, how can they best use this information?
I would say, from my perspective, by far, going back to Hotel Impossible right through this show, the most amazing feeling that I get, it was surprising at the beginning, was how many people come to us and say, you know, forget even the hotel industry. I learned so much about being human from Anthony. Mm-hmm. I learned so much about, you know, how to deal with a boss that I don't like. How all of these issues that come up as part of these shows are life lessons. And I think what is underscored throughout is that hospitality industry is life. It's a microcosm of life. All the issues that you work out in your life, you have to deal with on a job, working with people, how your attention to detail in your life, how well you work as a team in life. So I think that is something that is kind of a subtext of the whole show. And I know in some ways that may be even potentially more rewarding to a student than literally learning these 12 facts about a hotel. This is learning about being human.
Right. And to give some insight, right? We've had some young producers on our show. And, you know, Lisa and Maddie come to mind. Right? They were the best producers, some of the best producers. Tara, who was more seasoned, did our 5-Star Secret, another superstar producer, and some other superstar producers. And the thing that they knew pretty quickly is do not take me seriously. Take what I say seriously. And if you take me seriously, you're going to hate me. If you take what I say seriously, you're going to like working with me.
Right.
And I remember 2 instances. One with Maddie coming over to me, and I'm saying this because this is the things you learn not only in front of the camera but behind the camera, and that's why I want to kind of give some of this behind the scenes stuff. I'll give you 2 instances. Once, I was talking. This producer was new, relatively new. I've worked with her for weeks, and I think months, and she got promoted or something. And we were in Pennsylvania at a resort, and we're having lunch, and I said something, and then she jumped out at me and was very aggressive and used language maybe she shouldn't have used. I got up from the table, I went into my room, and I left the door open. And I set my phone for 2 minutes. Okay? And I said, if she comes in and apologizes to me in 2 minutes, I'm going to hug her, and me and her are going to work together for a long time. If she doesn't, I'm probably going to have to go have a real serious conversation with her.
Oh, boy.
She was still good. She was still good to tell her she had to go. But I would have had a serious conversation. I opened the door. 60 seconds later, she comes in. She's crying. I'm crying. She hugs me. She goes, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I said, hey, you love this project as much as I do. You're as into it as I am. You're really good at what you do. No harm, no foul. Worked together for years. Love her to death. Then this young lady comes to another young lady who I just mentioned, Maddie. She comes to me, and we're right where I think we may have been on the same show. And we're outside, and shit went to hell in a handbasket. It was crazy. and they're accusing us of showing a plane or whatever. And like, and my producer, chapter and verse, was like, I have the text messages, whatever it was. And so I don't know what the heck they're talking about. The time was early in the morning. I'm kind of like, what's going on? Why are we shooting? And I said, I need to talk to you, Maddie. She looks me in the eye. She puts her finger in my face. She goes, go sit over there. and everybody, and I go, okay. And I sat over there. And then she came over to me and she goes, what's the matter? And I told her, I said, what do you think I was dealing with? And I was like, all right, I'm sorry, Maddie. And that's her not taking me too seriously. Because if she took me seriously, if they took me seriously, they couldn't say that to me.
Right.
They couldn't know that they're going to be okay. I want the truth, and I want people to not look at, oh, he's the producer or he's the show, whatever he is. Doesn't matter. We're all in here making, breaking eggs to make the eggs. And like that to me is the hotel business. If you're at the front desk and a guest is upset and pissed off, and you made a decision to make them happy, be able to back it up. And your supervisor or the owner or the general manager will probably, most cases, back you up. And if they don't, that's probably not the hotel you should be working at anyway. And so producers like that I worked well with. Producers that were a little afraid of me, I didn't work so well with. So what was, Bruce, one more thing. What was the one producer that said something to you that said, Anthony is crazy? Well, how many producers have said that?
One producer.
Is there one phone call or one moment where you remember?
Well, it's like this, like I said before, you either realize really quickly where the Anthony energy and intensity comes from is a positive place. He wants to make the world better, or you think he's just yelling at you for no reason. And if you think the latter, there's nothing we're going to say that's going to make it work. And we just have to cut it.
I want to go on record saying I've only yelled once on set that I remember that was not good. So I don't yell. I'm intense. But Dana's like, wow, he just lied right to everybody.
No, what I'm thinking is like, yeah, those moments happen, but in 10 seconds later, you're cracking a joke. You deal with humor, and then you might need, okay, I need 10 minutes. I'm going to go take some time, but you will button it with something light and just know my heart. I know.
I never let anybody walk away upset because it's not about me. It's the one thing I want to get out there about the show and about the industry. If you're a person where this is about you, you're probably in the wrong industry.
Right.
This has never been about me. And maybe early on in my career when I was really, insecure, but never once have I ever been on set and wanted to look better than I did. Never once. And these people have been there every day. I mean, has that ever happened, Bruce? You've seen all the cuts. Have I ever tried to flex just because I want to flex?
Not at all. And I should say, like, in terms of behind the scenes, what the experience would be if a fan or outsider came on the set. I think one of the things that would be striking, and this is just a little detail, is Anthony's attention to detail as a hotelier literally informs every aspect of his physical being. I am talking about obsession with how pointy his collars are, that they're starched. The tie. I have a complete OCD thing about people's ties touching their top of the button so that it hides the button, as opposed to being 90% of people, and I just say that, actually have a very sloppy tie and it comes down. Anthony's tie is literally like sculpted on him always. And I'm talking about in the morning, at the end of a 14-hour day or whatever. But that is one thing I think that people would experience if they were on the set. The level of, I don't even know what it is, but the head always looks, whether it's shined, waxed, polished, I don't know what the hell he does.
Well, I have to wait. Maria, who's my assistant. Wait, it's so funny because Maria, I don't know if she ever listens to any of this, but who's my assistant, I didn't want an assistant. I went kicking and screaming. I don't need an assistant on set. They could never find me because apparently in their mind I was always getting lost, which wasn't true. But so Maria was really responsible after maybe, I don't know, season 4 of making sure, I had everything I needed and I looked perfect. But listen, in the hotel business, that's why 5-Star Secrets was great. And that's why working with these great people that we're working with at Breaks in Margaritaville, it's not me. Go to any really real one hotel and I'll look at a general manager or managing director in the face and say these words, and I have. I was at Forbes. I'm sitting around the table, Forbes Travel Guide in Vegas. I'm sitting around the table of rock star hoteliers, and I looked them all in the eye, and I said, "You're all effing crazy." And you know what they said? Yeah, we are, aren't we? Aren't we? They're all crazy. If you're working at that level of 5 stars and you have to be perfect 24/7, and you're coming in and every guest is 4 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're trying to do it and be rated at the best of the best of the best, if you're not a little bit nuts, you're not going to make it. And I mean that 100. Every single person I know that's extremely good at what they do, doctor, lawyer, producer. Bruce is one of the craziest people I ever know. Okay, Dana is one of the craziest people I ever know. Alex is probably the craziest sane person I know.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that perfect? He's the sanest out of all of us, but he's still crazy.
Let's just put relevance here. Alex, who is he? Because we all know, but our
He's our
audience doesn't.
producer. He's the man that came to me on a Sunday morning in Wildwood, New Jersey. And not Wildwood. Was it Wildwood?
Cape May? Was it Cape?
No, I don't know. In New Jersey. No. Oh, come on. It starts with an S. Help me. Nobody? Anyway. And I can't believe we can't remember our own show, 2-hour special. We're sitting in we just lost our show.
Oh,
Seaside. So we just lost our show. This man, Bruce, is on a plane to China, so we can't get in touch with him. Brian Lennon, our executive producer, is somewhere else. We can't get in touch with him. And our show, we have a 2-hour special, and in the first 30 minutes of shooting or the first day of shooting or second day, the owner is basically a fraud. And the owner has $40 million in assets but doesn't want to fix his hotel. Anyway, so I refuse, and I'm like, I'm out. And I walk off the show. So I'm sitting in the trailer, almost in tears, with Rob Green, who's very smart, but we were always at odds, but he's a very smart guy. And we're sitting there, and I'm like literally going, what are we going to do? And then Alex, young at the time, 24 years old maybe, walks into the thing, into the trailer, and said, listen, we have all this equipment, we have a budget, we have the time. Let's just go knock on doors. It was right after Sandy, maybe 6 months after Sandy. They're getting ready for the season. Why don't we just go knock on doors and ask people if they need help? And we got a 2-hour, again, one of the best shows we've ever done because Alex is in a figure out mode. And he saved the show.
Right.
In my opinion.
That was that was the show that came closest to violence. I will say that.
Yeah, but not from me. Not from me.
No, not from you.
Wait, hold on. Since we're here, the gentleman said he lied, and his.
Oh, wait, you got to explain to him. You're going to tell it that what he lied about is he was crying poverty with Hotel Impossible, saying, "I can't afford to fix this hotel. I love this hotel. It's in the family. My grandfather bought it. Whatever." Until we found out that he had $40 million in the bank.
And now we found out is I'm driving with the mic on, with the cameras up, and you see it on the show, and I'm driving, and he goes, see that hotel? Oh, see that building there? I own it. And I was like, I'm driving. And he goes, see that? I own it. I said, and now, again, I have my producer head on, I have my host head on, and I have the Brooklyn Kids head on. It was like, don't lose your temper. And I'm driving, and I go, oh, that's great. How many buildings you have? And he goes, well, I have $40 million worth of real estate, all liquid, all paid off. I have no debt. I almost crashed the car, but I was calm. You couldn't even see my blood pressure go up. I was like, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I get out of the car. I can't imagine if you have that on camera behind the scenes of what I look like after I heard that. So I will just say his son thought I was trying to make him look dumb, and his son threatened to beat me up. And
then I brought bouncers to the set because
that's right.
to make sure he's okay. And then in the classic line, the guy said on camera, "Oh, you brought muscle? Well, I have my own muscle." Okay. Just the fact that he used the word muscle made us realize like
and what people don't know about me is I'm not engaging in violence. I'm not yelling. I'm not screaming. I have no interest in this kind of behavior. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm about. I'm about helping you with your hotel. So when Alex comes in and says what he says, I was just like, that's genius. That's amazing. And then he went around. And again, the good thing about Dana and Lisa and Maddie and Alex and everybody else behind the scenes, no one ever tells me how many eggs they're cracking, how many hours they're working, or how difficult it is. I just want what I want because we have a time thing.
Yep. I got to get to the DMV, buddy.
Go ahead.
Well, I would say from the educator standpoint, from higher education, especially at the Chaplin School of Hospitality and Tourism Management in North Miami, we are thrilled that this is coming to the forefront, and we know what you are doing and the passion that you have is going to bring it and elevate it for our students, and we're excited to be able to use this in the classroom. So to you, Anthony, for being inspirational in creating this, and Bruce and Dana and Alex for making the behind the scenes happen and bring it to the next stage, I can't thank you enough.
And AHLA for funding it.
And AHLA for funding it. And follow us on all social media, Hotel All Stars, and most importantly, subscribe on YouTube so you'll get notification when the new shows are up.
And I'll say this one last thing.
Yes,
if the hotel industry doesn't support the show will only last 2 shows. This is a hotel show by the hotel business for the hotel business. This is our show. And if we're not interested, then don't watch it. If you're interested in this industry, then please ask all your friends to watch the show. Ask everyone, please. I don't ask this. I never ask this about my show. Please repost it. Please get people to like us on YouTube because we need this show.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being here. But if other hotels are interested in sponsoring or participating, Bruce, maybe this question's for you. How do they do that?
They could do a lot of things. First of all, most importantly, follow us on all the social media. You'll get a lot of information. Yep. But if they want to email Atlas Media, Dana D. Craig at atlasmediacorp.com, they should. And within an instant, they'll be, put in touch with the people who make it all happen.
And DM me, Anthony at anthonymelchuri.com. Email me or DM me at any one of my social media platforms, LinkedIn or Instagram. And if I don't get back to you within a day, that means I'm dead.
Awesome. Well, thanks. And I want to thank Suzanne for being here. I want to thank you two for being here. We will see you again, hopefully real soon after you guys do some more episodes. Anthony, that was so much fun. I can't wait for the big premiere.
I wish I was passionate about hotel business.
Seriously, you got to really bring up that energy.
You know what? I went a little off on a tangent, and I didn't mean to, but I want people to understand the energy on that set. If you don't have the right energy with the right people, you see the end product, right? And you're doing this on a skeleton budget, so you see the end product. But everyone has got to be a superstar at what they do.
Yep, they sure do. And you guys want to be superstars, make sure you download this episode and you download all of our other episodes. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well on all of our social media sites. I want to thank you all for being here. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
And get Hotel All Stars. Subscribe on YouTube. See you guys tomorrow.